So now we are going to have a panel discussion. Nikita is going to lead that, so I'll let her come up and do the intro of the different speakers that are going to be a part of it, talking about why crypto companies are warming up to the UAE. If Alex is here, is your panel here? Yeah? There you are. Alex, come on up. Feras. Everyone that's on that panel will be great. Maher and Saker. Looking forward to hear what you guys talk about. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, hello again. I always love speaking about the UAE, so that's my common denominator today. I'm not going to bore you guys with another introduction to myself, but for those of you who missed it in the first time, in a nutshell, my name is Nikita Sachdev. I'm the CEO and founder of Luna Media Corp, which houses Luna PR, Cointelegraph, Middle East, Luna Foundation, and a few other companies. So why don't we start off with a quick introduction with my fellow panelists, and then I'll kick off the questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm the general manager of Binance here in the region. We've been here for a couple of years now, and I think this is one of our homes for the long term.
Hi, everyone. My name is Feras. I'm one of the co-founders and the CMO at Crypto Oasis Ventures. I've grown up over here, so this topic is very close to my heart. And over the years, we've been helping bring quite a few of the Web3 companies to the region.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Feras Al Sadek. I'm the founder and managing partner of Ghaf Capital Partners and Ghaf Labs. Ghaf Capital being a private investment firm, and Ghaf Labs being a boutique consultancy/advisory firm in the UAE for Web3. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Maher Al-Ka'bi. I sit as an independent board member in several companies. One of the prominent one is the Serkal Group. It's a family office for the 165 years. It's actually been instrumental in co-founding the Etisalat, Diwa, Siwa. Those who are living over here would probably know these companies. And first insurance company, Dubai Insurance, Pepsi. We have a vertical which is related to sustainability, completely on waste management, one of the only company in the entire Middle East. All the metrics you see, that's the vertical we manage in terms of OEM. We're the sole agent for Chehade Rail. We've got smart mobilities. I also sit on the board of a lot of other companies. I served as a board of chairman for schools of ISB, which is about 60,000 children locally and internationally. I also happen to sit as well on the Circular Economy Council, which is headed by Her Excellency Mariam Al-Mehri. She's the Minister of Climate Change and Environment, and Abdullah bin Tawq, he's the Minister of Economy.
Amazing. Fantastic, very strong panel this morning. So why don't we start off with a quick brief onto what made you move here or stay here, for that matter. A lot of people in the last, I mean, you said 165 years, you've been here a very long time. I mean, you're from here. What has made you want to stay in the region when so many people in the last 20 years have left the region? And for the rest of the panelists, what made you move to the region?
If we start with me, I started my career accidentally as a co-founder for one of the tech companies. I'm a software engineer by background. So I used to make games when I was in less than like 8 years old, 9 years old. So when I graduated university, I joined the company as a software engineer. And not very long, I mean, I think probably in a couple of weeks, they decided to make me as a co-founder. I'm trying to shorten the story over here. And then kind of had the luck to join Citibank, which is an international bank over 200 years span, over 100 countries. And there was always an urge for me to go and work in Europe by my group CEO and also in US, because you got a profile saying, okay, if you're a top talent in the company, these are the top 10 people that we want them really to go abroad. I never had the urge to go and work abroad. I mean, we're talking about 90s, mid-90s, and even early 2000. I think we're rooted over here. I personally want to stay over here. I have my family's over here, so that's more important for me to get a personal growth elsewhere. And you'll probably hear this mostly by most of the Emiratis who are living in UAE. They don't want to really go out. The number of Emiratis who are actually working outside consciously themselves are pretty counted in 10 fingers. Okay, with the exception of those who are delegates in terms of embassy, ambassadors, and consulate. That's a different thing because that's a government role. So people want to stick around over here because you've got an environment which is very conducive. What else do you want when you actually have great leaders in the company, in the country over here? We're very lucky to have them who are actually taking care of the people and the people who come and build this country as well. So you've got an environment that is very welcoming and for people to be here. So that made it difficult for me to go and live anywhere else, to be honest with you. So that's why I want to stay over here. And I used to always tell my group CEO, if I'm going to grow, I'm going to grow over here, and that's it. And this is how my journey was remained over here. Yes, I went outside for doing a lot of projects. I worked in Europe, to be honest with you. I was the head of risk management over there, managing EMEA. But I always wanted to urge to come back over here. So I went to international roles, but I come back, and so forth.
Alex, maybe you can tell us, since you're with Binance, Binance actually set the stage for a lot of companies to move into the region. After Binance, we saw an influx of crypto unicorns and giants enter. What's your story? Did you move with Binance, or were you here before?
No, I was here quite a long time before. I think I moved 2015. And, the lifestyle here is great, but going back to the leadership here, this is why Binance is here. Like, strong decisions by leadership, leadership deploying their ideas and executing. We don't see that often in other places in the world. There's long-term vision, long-term plan. When I was first here, we had the Dubai Blockchain Center was founded. There was a blockchain initiative. Then we had 10X. Now we've got D33, and these seem really ambitious from an outsider coming in. But when you stay here long enough, you see these executed. You see alignment with all the government agencies. You see alignment with the public and private sectors. And so when CZ came here and discussed about having a regional headquarters and aligning with leadership, he saw the vision and he saw the commitment, and I think he had a few good advisors, sort of, explaining that it's not just words; it gets delivered. So Binance now has around 500 people here. It's a strong presence. We understand the regulatory certainty that we have. We see the commitment to Web3 economy. The government here want to move into new economies. We're seeing the numbers of GDP growth, and we want to contribute with the largest blockchain and Web3 ecosystem, and we understand network effects. And so by situating here and allowing other people to come here, it's for the greater good.
I want to ask you something. Don't kill me. Say no comment if you don't want to comment. This morning in the news, there's something about Binance and Abu Dhabi. What's going on? Does Binance want to stay in the region? What kind of stance does it want to have here?
So Binance is here in the region and will stay here. We withdrew one license, which is a fund manager license in Abu Dhabi. We weren't using it. We still have a custody license in Abu Dhabi, Cat 3 license, and we have the license through VARA for exchange and brokerage, and we expect to progress that license further.
So it's just the news being dramatic again.
Absolutely.
So Faisal, you have such a large ecosystem of companies here in the UAE internationally and from the region. Why are companies moving to the Middle East? What is so attractive to them?
Well, going back to your last question, I spent a lot of time outside, but the objective was always to come back over here. And one of the reasons for that was, you can blame it on the lifestyle. And during COVID, what the UAE did, which was very different from the rest of the world, was they actually let people live. They enforced the rules when required, and they opened it up for for individuals and for, for the families over here when things got better instead of, the lockdowns that you had in Europe. And what we've seen with the organizations, and, like Binance can attest to this, like where else can you hire 500 people in such a short amount of time? Right? Like if you look at Switzerland, if you look at Germany, just getting one visa, it would take you an entire year. And then for that person to find a house or, that entire setup process is such a long period of time. Whereas over here, Binance was up and running in 6 months. And now you've got over 1,800 companies, you've got more than 9,000 people working. It is the biggest ecosystem in Web3 in the world, consolidated into a single space. So you've got the regulation, you've got the lifestyle, you've got Dubai's finally matured as a real estate market as well. So it is the life that is dragging them here, but it's also the regulations. It's also, it's one of, I would say it's one of the only governments that's actually taking a lead from the front instead of, just, coming to the country. No, you've had them focusing on the metaverse and then on AI, and then you've got, like even at COP28, there is an entire vertical on Web3. And so it is the focus from the region, it's focus from the leadership, and it's the life.
Yeah, for sure, and that really resonates with my panel in the morning with Mohammed Al-Balushi of DIFC. I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here because I love Dubai, and if I don't play devil's advocate, this panel is going to be about why Dubai is so amazing, and we all know that. So when we talk about talent, when we talk about the region being, progressive and I guess almost like an incubator for companies to come in. Personally, I've also, grown my company from 5 employees to 100 employees, and the rules have changed, along the way. From the visas being, of course, visas are very easy, but then this Emiratization rule came up, and that's tough. We're struggling with that, to find Emiratis that want to work for outside companies, for international companies. That's number one. The tax. The VAT came up, and now possibly the 9% business tax. What are some of the challenges that you foresee for companies that are coming into the region because it's so attractive with the kind of fast-paced environment, these new laws and regulations? And of course, the country needs to do what they need to do to protect the ecosystem here. But what are some of the challenges that you foresee?
Well, some of the challenges, you've just highlighted them yourself, but my only point, and I say the same thing for taxes, I say the same thing for VAT, for real estate, it's still better than anywhere else in the world. So yes, it may be a challenge, but if you go anywhere else, you're going to face bigger and greater challenges.
If I can add to that, if we take an example in comparison to the VAT tax that we have today, as you have mentioned, it's the lowest in the world today, 5%. I mean, we just want to pray that it doesn't go higher. But it's like you go to other countries, 70%, 19% are there. And if you go on top of that, the government, if you go to US, it's much more complicated. Whereas I think she's sitting outside, she's an American over here.
I'm an American citizen, so I feel that pain.
When I'm in US, you're gonna need to pay a federal tax, a state tax as well. So you got double tax over there, right? So it's not easy. And it's even different, they're not even aligned. If you're in New York, it's different tax. If you go to LA, it's a different tax. The only reason we're introducing corporate tax just for people to know, because a lot of people might not know these things. We all know that the common tax of 15% for the American companies need to be taxed. That was there, right? So US had to really consider if the American company is going to be taxed 15% and they have to repatriate this tax to their mother company in US, so why shouldn't we take a pie of that? And that would push the decision for the 9% to be there. And the reason we made it 9 because we want to make it lower than the Ireland, which Ireland is 12%. It's the most conducive environment for people being there. But it's a hub for a technology company. A lot of people know that. So we said, okay, we'll make it lower than 12%. We don't require the tax, but we need to make sure that we get a pie. If a company got to get taxed over here, we should then pay because we're trying to create all the infrastructure over here. So that's the reason it came in. So of course, there's a talk, of course, about income tax, whether it's going to happen or not. It's not on the table, but that can be in the future. But if you look at, again, income tax globally, it's mind-boggling. 30%, sometimes 40%, depending on your status, where you are, married, not married, and children, and so forth. So currently, as we speak, it's a very conducive environment from all perspectives if you do a comparison far away from any other countries globally today. I'm not saying it because I'm here or I belong to here, but that's a fact. If you put a table, you get to know the benefits.
And if you go offshore, sometimes with the BVI or Cayman, the issue is that you don't get the ecosystem that you actually get over here. That these are just companies that you can incorporate, and then what else comes out of it. So makes sense, especially as a U.S. citizen. Makes a lot of sense. For us,
double advocate worked.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil advocate. I just want to make it a bit spicy for the audience. So for us, I want to talk about the reason why Dubai has been coined the Silicon Valley of Web3. Of course, there's a lot of family offices, sovereign funds in the region that are now investing in Web3 heavily. Dubai seems, the UAE has seemed to kind of work towards a shift from being, pioneers of oil and gas to tech, to the forefront of finance and technology, which I think is fascinating. What trends are you noticing here in the region? And another spicy question: why do I hear so many times from people coming internationally into the region that that Dubai has a bit of a superficial kind of environment when it comes to VCs, and I contradict that personally. This is not like my own viewpoint. I just want to know, why is there that stigma?
Okay, so great two questions. I'll go with the first question, which was more about what is trendy in Dubai, why are people coming over here? So we're all humans, right? And for a human, they would have basic needs and basic requirements to live and move in a country. As my colleague panelist just mentioned, there's a lot of basic needs such as super high healthcare. I was just in the UK, had a very, I witnessed an experience in which a colleague of mine at work got a small issue, and we admitted him to the hospital and to the emergency. It took him 4 hours just to see a nurse. In the UAE, for example, if you get a small cut on your hand, you can go to ICU and you'll have the best treatment. Other than the basic needs, such as education, such as government support, accelerator programs, a lot of different hubs that are over here, you have extremely low taxes. I was reading a statistic actually yesterday where in Germany, if you have an income of, for example, $1 million a year or euros a year, you're paying about 490,000 euros or dollars a year on taxes. So that's about 49%. Over here, you're basically paying nothing. Other than these basic fundamentals and needs of a human to be comfortable and feel secure to be over here, Dubai has also attracted, or the UAE actually has attracted itself to being the global hub of BD. This is where what I see UAE playing a key role as. It's number one, centered in a perfect location around the world. So it's in the middle of so many different time zones, so many different locations between Europe and Asia and what so. A lot of people feel welcome over here. They do a lot of partnerships, collaborations, announcements that all come from over here. You would see a lot of US companies wanting to meet Asia, for example. They'd meet them over here and do a lot of different stuff. It becomes a lot easier. So that was, I believe, your first question. The second question was about the VCs and raising of capital over here. And I've heard that actually before. And something that I always mention to a lot of companies, whether large or small or medium, is that do not expect to come into the region and raise capital like this. This is the number one aspect. I heard so many companies, for the first time, they step into the UAE, they plan a 1-week trip, and in that 1-week trip, they fail to raise capital, and they leave and they say, oh, Dubai or UAE, there's no funds, there's no capital. This is not the way you raise capital. You have to have a market entry strategy. You have to build trust with these investors. Dubai or the UAE is not what people perceive us as we just throw money. No, It's very smart money. It's hard work and earned money. And for them to raise capital, there has to be a full strategy. The country, the economy, the people of the country, the funds that are over here need to trust, need to understand, need to be educated, need to interact and build a relationship before you raise capital. Yes, for example, if you're a US company based in the US, you raise capital quite quicker because you're part of that ecosystem. But for you to raise capital from over here, I always say build a relationship with the ecosystem, be part of the ecosystem, come 4 or 5 times within that 2-month period, meet the people before you even raise the question of, are you investing or do you want to invest in these companies?
That's very true. I mean, and this region in particular is very relationship focused. And I think that it's a very positive trait because some of the best investors in the world have this saying to invest in people rather than projects. And by building these relationships, you get to understand the character of the person that you're investing in. You know, so earlier this morning, I was speaking to Mr. Mohammed Al-Balushi about the UAE as well, about Dubai in particular. And he was saying one of the reasons a lot of companies have come into the region is because of some geopolitical circumstances that have kind of pushed them into a region where they feel safe and secure and can still thrive. In the US, nothing so geopolitical, but rather it's the SEC that's causing a crackdown on a lot of companies to kind of leave the region. But you know, and people, I don't think Gary Gensler is very loved anymore from the crypto community. What happens once he leaves, once the SEC does become crypto friendly? Eventually, I believe they will. What happens when, you know, the geopolitical issues kind of settle down? Will crypto companies still want to come into the region? Are they going to go back? Are we still going to, you know, and if there is a slowdown, what are we going to have to do to retain these companies?
I'd like to kick it off maybe very quickly. So one thing that UAE is leading at is regulation by education. So where do you see around the whole world regulators doing meetups, conferences, meeting the startups, going for coffee, tea, food, lunches, and dinners with different startups and projects? It's very hard to find regulators actually fighting and educating and supporting all these companies. So that, I think, is a key differentiator between us and the rest of the world. I've seen Vara in almost every single event, talking to startups, meeting small, medium, and large enterprises, educating them on what are the next best steps. Other than that, I don't see us as any more fearful of other countries. We have built the reputation. We have proven ourselves over and over and over again in terms of being the #1 leaders in the industry, and any industry we focus at, we can achieve. We have an initiation to have 30,000 employees in the AI space by 2030. And that also has blockchain related to it and a lot of different elements. Which country around the world has said something like this or made a benchmark for us to do this?
Which country even has a ministry of AI?
Exactly. So I'll leave that for the rest.
If I can. So for us, because of you know, helping companies move with helping them with the licensing, we've seen any issues that happen around the world, you see those companies flocking to the UAE. But one thing you have to, and I'm sure all of us have heard of this, that people move to the UAE with hearsay. Like, this is what it's going to be like, this is how the people are, this is how life is, this is how the regulations are, this is how the licensing is. But I can count out 50 people right now that came here for a couple of years, and they've been here for a decade now. Right? You come in with a plan, but because of how you stay here, because of how life is here, and because of the communities and the ecosystem, people end up staying. So I'm not worried at all about the ones that are here that are going to leave. Maybe there is a slowdown in newer organizations coming, but the ones that are here are going to stay.
Yeah, just to follow on, I mean, if we look at D33, it's not just about Web3, it's about AI, it's about many other verticals, sustainability, And so, you know, that cumulative effect of all these other industries, the infrastructure being built for that, makes the Dubai UAE a very attractive proposition. You know, it'll be driving from the front rather than worrying about people exodusing. That won't be the worry. It'll probably be a worry of, do we have enough infrastructure for people to keep coming? Because, you know, the track record is there. And then when we're building and we've got the education system, the healthcare system, the roads, the train, you know, where else would you relocate to? The other jurisdictions are not issuing visas. They don't have the infrastructure. Move to Hong Kong and have a bedroom the size of a matchbox. It's just not what people need.
I think it's a very good question you've asked. I'll take backwards, go to 52 years ago. If you look at the leadership who built the country, they founded the country, His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the late founder, may Allah bless his soul. Their mission was, how do I make my country progressive all the time? And yesterday I was in a panel in the Ministry of Education, and I happened to have the flashcard of 1960s and 70s and 80s and 90s. And over there, he was trying to make sure the education is number one, healthcare is number two, and make sure, how do we make sure the people in UAE are happy? So this is not whatever we see today as an infrastructure, or the build-up is happening, or the strategy we're doing, or becoming progressive. It's not from today. It's actually been born since 2 years ago. So there is a consistent approach of making this progress. So you've got government come and gone, you've got PM come and gone in else part of the world. People have kind of said many other things are going to happen, but they're not really lasted. For us, we've been progressing like this for the last 52 years. We just celebrated the birth of the country. So it's a very consistent approach, and that emanates from our faith, that whoever is in this land, we have to take care of them. And we have to make sure, because we believe everyone is staying over here, we're responsible for them. So when you have a mindset like that, a country which is forward-looking and always progressive, and if you look at every 10 years of this country has been progressing like that. I remember when the first, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid said, I want to go and make Dubai the e-government, we need to start e-government, somewhere in 1997. And it was in Jumeirah Hotel, and he brought N-1, N-2, N-3. And he told them, whoever is with us, fantastic, because this is a shift that we're going to have in 5 years. And whoever is not going to be in this journey, because I expect a lot of you not tech savvy or feel it difficult, we respect you for your services, but resign. Some people resigned. And when that happened, then you had Smart Dubai came in, and then you have 3X came in, then 10X came in, now D33 came in. So you could see that this is happening since ever. So yes, there will be other people coming up with new things, and US things gonna happen better. Good, that's excellent. But the ecosystem over here will continue to grow. It's not gonna stay as it is. It will continue to grow. So today we have D33, God knows tomorrow what's gonna be there.
And there's so many initiatives being taken place to not only foster those that are coming into the country, but also nurture those that are born here, will be raised here, instead of, when I was asking initially what got you to stay here or what made you move here, more so I was interested in what made you stay here, because there are so many citizens that will go abroad for education, and now you're seeing the nation is bringing the education here. You have NYU in Abu Dhabi, incredible campus. The professors are coming from abroad into the region. So the UAE is providing every resource required for a successful next generation, for a generation to stay here, and for hopefully more unicorns, homegrown unicorns, entrepreneurs to come out of the region rather from abroad and then come and set up shop here. And I really do hope to see more of that in the next decade or so. More unicorns, more entrepreneurs, more innovation coming out of this region, and I'm sure we will see that. On that last note,
I know we are out of time, but given you mentioned about unicorns, I know we're a relatively very small population, and I apologize for my voice today, it's really gone. And what Mohammed Broushi missing, or probably did not mention, the IFC itself, they launched the launchpad of venture studios. And Venture Studios somewhere started in 1995 in US. And we launched just a year ago. And the mission was within 5 years, we will create 8,000 jobs, we will attract $4 billion, and we will have 120 venture studios will come established, 200 companies will get in the 5 years, and 10 unicorns will come up. In the first year itself, we created 238 companies from that establishment, from the venture studios. And venture studios only been scaling up in the last 5 years, although it started in 1995 by someone called Bill Gross in the US. But that tells you how progressive things are happening. And as we grow, the Emirati talent, we're also a minority in UAE, right? You mentioned about Emiratization and all this thing, because we need to take care of the Emiratis as well. So we're about 1 million people, okay, so around 900,000 something. Of course, the working force will be around 450,000 people. And the development of the young talent is amazing. Like, for example, my daughter, she's still in grade 12, but she's been selected by Houston to go and do for 1 week over there in NASA because of the competition. And she had a competition, she was #1. So there's a lot of development happening from the Emirati talents. We do have an academy within the group itself. So we actually come and teach children, our family children and so forth, from the age of 14 to 18, just to develop them. And you would be amazed the amount of talent now coming up. It's huge. So as we grow in numbers, you'll see the impact of them as well being happening in the country.
That's amazing. And congrats to your daughter. I'm actually from Houston, but not a very exciting city, unfortunately. On a final note, just one piece of advice, a quick one-liner on what you have for the audience that have recently moved here or are thinking about moving here.
I'll go to what he has mentioned. What's his name? Feras, mashallah. I think the key point, what he's mentioned over here, build trust with people. We're not a business, we're not people to throw money away as people may think outside. We're all about working with us, get to know us. We would like to know the people. We'd like to know whether it's a startup company or investors. Once you build the trust, it'll be important for you to move forward. Get to know the ecosystem. Get to know the regulation, because the regulation will keep on changing and will be forward-looking as well. So for the betterment of the country, for the companies and so forth. So keep on, these 3 things are key, to be honest with you, from my humble opinion.
Other than what he just mentioned, I totally agree 100% with all the points. Another point I would like to add is probably find a key local partner. Find a partner who understands this, who can accelerate your objectives, help you navigate through the ecosystem, and introduce you to the right people so that your time is not wasted, your energy, resources, and what. So finding a local partner also to achieve your KPIs and objectives is quite important. Thank you.
So we call the regional ecosystem, like lovingly, we call it the crypto oasis. Again, so you've got Silicon Valley to Crypto Valley to Crypto Oasis. And the way we've seen the growth happen in the past 2 years, it's been phenomenal. And my only advice is, like, it's just getting started, because now with the regulations coming in, and after Venom, IOTA setting up their foundation in Abu Dhabi, it's just getting started.
Yeah, obviously we're all in agreement here, but success is not overnight, right? It's relationships take a long time to bed in, to understand the market. It takes time. So, come to be successful, but don't expect it overnight.
Yeah, and I think just to put it all together, it's very important to understand the culture here before you come into the region. Don't be oblivious and get to know where you are a little bit, and I think that goes a long way. Thank you so much to all my panelists. I hope you enjoyed our panel, and thank you.